classic movie fans, Rick 9G here. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about a movie that I'm going to guess a lot of you really love. It's called Forbidden Planet. A lot of you have recommended it to me and wanted to see it in the second annual Halloween special. We're focusing on monsters and aliens. So join me today as I'm going to look at some of these really cool facts, including a really cool filmmaking secret from this film that you may have never heard of. I think you're absolutely going to all love it, so stay tuned and let's get right to it. If you're familiar with some of the promotional products or just posters for this film, Forbidden Planet, you will be familiar with this famous poster. Now, it's for the film and it shows a pretty menacing robot carrying a struggling, beautiful girl. Now, that was a staple, in case you didn't know, of monster movie posters in the 1950s. So it built upon that reputation and it built upon that concept. Why is this so important? Well, all of you have heard of the idea of clickbait and a lot of people giving YouTubers unjust claims of clickbaiting. Well, this movie did the same thing. It did clickbait in another way. It made you want to go see the movie because of the poster. It drew you in. But in fact, there's no scene in the whole movie that occurs in which the robot portrayed in the poster actually does this. Robbie the robot doesn't do that, and he's actually a pretty likable character throughout the whole piece of the film. He never does this, and it's never in the film. And so, I mean, come on, this is 1950s clickbait, and most people still like the film anyway. They give it a good pass. So we should do that to YouTubers as well. Now, it may not be too surprising, but yes, this film was actually a production of MGM. It was built on the same studio. Today, it's known as Sony Pictures Studio in Culver City, California. And it was filmed inside the same soundstage of The Wizard of Oz, which was filmed in 1939. So 17 years beforehand. Now, the set of Altaira's garden is a reuse of the Munchkin Village set. Now, you may think, well, why would they do this? Well, one way, or it has to do with money. Reusing a lot of these sets, or just sets in general, is a good way to save money. And most people won't even notice that it's a set unless you're doing some type of work like I'm doing. But it's pretty cool. It's a way that they save money. And yep, I guess the Altaira Garden is the same as the Munchkin Village set. Now, this is not an exaggeration. It is very true. This film was banned. It was completely banned in Spain. Now, why? Well, the lovely actress Anne Francis is in this movie, and she wore a mini dress in this movie. Remember, this is 1956. It was the first time that a woman essentially wore this in a Hollywood movie. It resulted in the film being banned in Spain. It wasn't shown there till more than a decade later in 1967. Now, General Franco, the dictator, considered it very dirty and obscene that a woman wore a mini dress to show off her legs. And so that's why it wasn't shown in Spain. Now, the film was largely taking place in a soundstage, 89,000 square feet, same one as Wizard of Oz. It made it one of the largest productions for MGM ever. It was a huge space that was used, a big soundstage, and it was the first film in which took place the whole time on an alien planet. That is so awesome. Now, the person who was inside Robbie the Robot, yeah, there was a person inside. He was a stuntman and actor. His name was Frankie Darro. Now, he's the one who originally operated Robbie the Robot. However, he was fired during the filming of this movie. Why? Because he almost fell over while inside the expensive prop following a lot of martinis that he had. Now, they were so worried because it was an expensive prop. In fact, Robbie the Robot cost $125,000. Remember, that's in 1956. If you convert that to today's inflation and valuation amount, it comes out to $1.3 million, almost $1.4 million. I guess I know why they almost fired the actor. Wow. Now, not only that, but in November 2017, Robbie the Robot costume and its transport set at an auction, they sold for $5.375 million, which was one of the most expensive props in movie history. Absolutely mind-blowing. Now, I'm not going to show you every single example of it because it's just too much. You're going to get the idea. But in 7 episodes of The Twilight Zone, ranging in years from 1959 all the way to 1963. They used that same spaceship. It's called C-57D. It appeared in the episodes Third from the Sun, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, The Invaders, To Serve Man, Hocus Pocus and Frisbee, Death Ship, as well as On Thursday We Leave for Home. As well as Robbie's vehicle. It appeared in the final scene of the Rip Van Winkle caper. And it's just really, really awesome. A lot of the crew's outfits were used in many episodes and other movies as well. It's really cool to be able to see this. We could call it a blooper, but it's just the fact that these items were reused, and I want to know how many of you actually caught this. Now, whichever way you look at it, it's pretty mind-blowing. The trailer itself was narrated by Marvin Miller. Now, he is the man who provided the voice for Robbie the Robot. Now, if you think about it, that could mean that Robbie the Robot is the one who's actually telling us the story, since the movie begins with a narration. So that is pretty cool. If not, they used exactly the same actor, but if you really think about it, it would work because Robbie makes it back with the crew. So it all comes together for full circle. Now, how many of you actually caught this? It could be known as a blooper, but I think it's really interesting to note that Robbie the Robot was not able to carry the doctor after he died. If you look carefully, you can see that he's actually carrying a lightweight dummy. That's because with the suit, the man inside, and so forth, it was really difficult logistically and kind of dangerous. Just wearing all that equipment and carrying a human being of that weight. And so they decided, let's just use a lightweight dummy and make it safer, and it still looks good on film. How many of you caught that? Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. I think it's pretty fascinating to know that the filmmakers for this used the same spaceship in 7 episodes of The Twilight Zone. Not just 1 or 2, but 7. That is so many. And so, yes, the secret that this spacecraft was seen throughout all of space, essentially, and made a lot of the invasions of the Twilight Zone is pretty fascinating. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you caught this. Let me know down in the comments below if you like this movie. When did you first see it? If it's one of your favorites or not. And what do you think about it? I really want to know and really want to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for the support as always. And don't forget, everyone, be hopeful.